Good afternoon. It's Tuesday, January 26th. I'm Sadie Perfetto. Welcome to Skedlive. Here's what's making news now. Constable James Fursillo has been found guilty of attempted murder of 18-year-old Sammy Yatim. For a wrap-up on the trial and what's to come, let's go over to Skedline reporters.
We're now in the newsroom where we're going to give you guys a recap of the events yesterday. As you may recall, Constable James Fursillo was found guilty of attempted murder, not guilty of second-degree murder and manslaughter. Of course, he was charged when he shot Sammy Yatim 8 times on board a TTC streetcar. We're going to recap to you guys what happens today, and here's those clips.
In the summer of 2013, Sammy Yatim was shot on board a streetcar 8 times by Officer James Fursillo. The trial has been ongoing for 3 months, and the jury has been sequestered, and deliberations have been ongoing for the past 6 days. Today, 12:30 p.m., the jury reached a verdict. Officer Fursillo has been found guilty of attempted murder and not guilty of second-degree murder and manslaughter. For skedline.com, I'm Sandra.
So after watching those report by Sarah, you might be a little confused at the events of yesterday. So our court reporter Brian Aguilar joins us in the studio. Brian, what was the mood like yesterday in the courthouse?
At first, there was obviously tension. It was quiet, like there's anticipation of what the verdict is, because 20 minutes before people came in, there's word that the verdict is coming in. So there was really anticipation and tension.
And can you tell us where the two parties were sitting? Where was Officer Fursillo sitting? Where was Sammy Yatim's mother sitting in the courtroom?
On my perspective, Sammy Yatim's family, his mother, and some of his relatives were sitting at the right side where the media is seated, while James Fursillo's family is seated on the left side. He was expressionless, like stone-faced, like he was with his wife. It was just like looking straight forward, no expression at all. The jury came in and read that James Fursillo wasn't guilty of second-degree murder and manslaughter, but he was guilty with attempted murder. His lawyer talked to the judge about filing a motion to stay for proceedings, which Peter brought his lawyer argued that Officer Fursillo's lawyer, defense lawyer, saying that there's abuse of process, saying that how can the government
How could the government sue Officer Fursillo when, in fact, the government was the one who trained him? So that's the whole process of the staying proceedings. And that's where we're at right now. And as of course you might have heard, the Crown is looking at about the springtime on when those proceedings will take place. May 16 for it to be exactly. So that's the latest about the Fursillo trial. Keep in touch on skedline.com for more of information.
Thanks. The purchase of 51 military-style rifles for the Toronto Police has led to criticism that there is an increase in police militarization across Canada. Skedline reporter Anas Sadiq has more.
Thanks for joining me. You may have already heard the hubbub surrounding the Toronto Police acquisition of assault weapons. Now, these are the C8 carbine semi-automatic assault rifle, which are being purchased for Toronto Police frontline officers. Now, we're going to take a bit of a closer look at this purchase and try and understand a little bit better what this purchase means for Toronto. First off, what is a frontline officer? If what comes to mind for you is, I have no idea, don't worry, you're probably not the only one. The definition of frontline policing is ambiguous at best. So, why are we purchasing these weapons? Toronto Police Service's crime statistics report a sharp rise in gun violence at the end of 2015, with about a 30% increase of incidents of gun-related crime. One of the concerns cited by police is to ensure the protection of officers on the job, which makes sense. These are law enforcement officers. They put themselves in tough situations every day. Something that stuck out to me during this whole thing was the fact that Toronto Police already have a special department armed with special weapons and special training, the Emergency Task Force, or ETF for short. The ETF was founded in 1965, and they have a mandate to deal with high-risk situations like hostage-taking, emotionally disturbed persons, high-risk arrests, warrant services, and protection details. So they're a little bit varied, but they deal with kind of the really important stuff. Now, one of the things I mentioned about the ETF was their mandate and training to deal with emotionally disturbed persons. this is very relevant this week. We just saw the Fursillo verdict come out. With the Fursillo verdict of the shooting death of Sammy Ateem, which is fresh in our minds right now, I can't help but wonder how the incident would have gone if it had been a trained ETF officer who's already trained in situations specifically dealing with emotionally disturbed persons. So, on the one hand, we have standard frontline officers, and on the other, we have a specially trained and equipped unit, the ETF. What do we do? The rifles are expected to cost anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 per weapon. With the Toronto Police looking to purchase about 50 of these, we're looking at a minimum investment of $100,000. There's a lot to take in about this purchase, but the main question that sticks out to me is, would this money be better spent expanding a unit already dedicated to the kind of policing that requires these weapons or not? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me. Back to the studio.
Thanks, Ines. The federal government is not providing enough funding for First Nations children on reserves. The Canadian Human Rights Tribunal has ruled that First Nations children are getting less funding than children elsewhere in Canada. The ruling comes almost 9 years after Aboriginal groups filed a complaint against Ottawa over a lack of funding for First Nations children. First Nations children represent nearly half of the 30,000 Canadian children under 14 living in foster care. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau made quite the splash this year at the World Economic Forum. The forum, held in Davos, Switzerland, was a way for world leaders to understand technological innovations. Trudeau promoted Canada as a place to invest, saying Canada is known more for its resourcefulness than its resources. Trudeau spoke to the CEOs of GM, Facebook, and Microsoft. While Trudeau was busy promoting Canada as a place to invest, many Canadians are finding themselves reluctant to invest their own money. With details on this and more, Shay Koshi has your business news.
Thanks, Sadie. Risk-averse Canadians across the country are holding up to $75 billion in cash, according to a report from CIBC Economics. CIBC Deputy Chief Economist Benjamin Tal said that Canadians have been holding their cash in savings since 2008 and that the Canadian economy is losing out because capital is not being allocated efficiently. According to CIBC Economics, there isn't a specific age group that's causing this trend. This risk-adverse mentality has been detrimental, according to Tal. He pointed out that this trend has happened in the past, but not at this scale and duration. Although holding back cash can guard from short-term tremors and instability, holding back for longer periods of time can result in investors potentially missing out on profits. One of the oldest daily papers in the country, Guelph Mercury, will stop publishing its print edition as of this Friday. The Mercury will still continue to have an online presence, but it's still unclear where that content will come from. The closure will cost 23 full-time jobs, 3 part-time employees, and 8 print editors. Metroland Media Group said that it would provide severance packages for the affected employees. As one legacy ends, another one is born. Today we celebrate the 12th anniversary of Mars rover Opportunity. The project scientists expected the rover to last only 90 days after its launch in January 2004, before dust clouded the solar arrays and drained their power. Opportunity runs 600 meters every day, spending weeks, months, and even years circling the same area, like taking 3 years to reach one of its goals, a 14-mile-wide crater named Endeavour. Opportunity's sibling, Spirit, landed a couple of weeks earlier, but only lived for 6 years after getting stuck and running out of power. Back on Earth, a Pembroke, Ontario dad is thrilled for getting more than $8,000 refunded from in-game purchases. Lance Perkins received a bill on December 23rd for $8,206 after giving his 17-year-old son a credit card for emergencies. Perkins' credit card company said that it was unable to revert the bill without charging his son for fraud. Xbox looked into the issue after realizing that the son was a minor. Perkins was satisfied with Microsoft's decision and stated that there would never be another gaming system in his house again. In Humber news, students across the campus are looking for summer employment. Johanna Tucker has the story.
I'm here in Humber Lakeshore's L Building, where over 600 students will walk through the doors to try and find a summer internship. Now here, all around here, we've got around 20 different businesses that are all looking for students. Let's check it out.
So today we've got the Career Fair, which is an annual event. It happens at the Lakeshore campus and North campus. Today we're at the Lakeshore campus, where we've invited over 22 employers to help students find summer jobs. Luckily for us, we've been running the Career Fair for such a long time that employers are pounding at the door trying to get in. So we actually have to limit the employers that come, but we just outreach to those that have been interested in the past and new ones that we've connected with that reach out to us. It's a well-known event that we have, so luckily they come and ask to be a part of it without too much outreach on our part. From my understanding, it is quite successful, and we get about 600 students at the Lakeshore campus through there, and I think about 75% of them are hired for the summer job. 75% of students that come through get a summer job.
I was actually trying to look for a job because I'm looking for a summer job related to design, but I don't think they have any design-related jobs, so I'm just looking around right now. I was kind of into marketing, like outdoor sports, because I was asking if they're looking for any graphic designers, but like I don't think so, I don't think so, yeah.
So we're an experiential marketing company. What that is a marketing company that has experiences face-to-face with consumers. So it's not so much TV, radio ads, it's getting out there, having experience with the consumer, either getting them to try something, learn something, just creating a fun experience for them to remember the brand by. Students are usually great brand ambassadors. They have great personal skills, especially in business. We offer summer internships from 3 to 4 months during the summer. So we're out here looking for students who are looking for some summer work and are maybe interested in marketing as a career. We have great opportunities for them to work on a couple different brands, and they get some in-office and in-field experience. But we're always looking for brand ambassadors. There's stuff going on all year round, so we're just looking for great new fresh blood to get and reinvigorate the brands that we have for them to work on.
I heard about it on Twitter because I decided to follow Humber on Twitter, so just heard about it. I didn't really have any expectations, although I expected like a lot more different companies, but what I've seen here isn't too bad. Like I've seen some new ones too that I've never heard of. I just looked at the McCarthy place, which seemed really good because I've done stuff in customer service, so I'm kind of interested in doing jobs in that sector. I was thinking of looking at that marketing place. I heard that they apply to like all business sections, so I might look there as well.
The job fair is closed at 2 today, so if you missed your chance, you can always go to the North Campus on February 4th to drop off your resume. Johanna Tucker, Skedline.com, back to the studio.
Thanks, Johanna. Good news for commuters to Humber Lakeshore campus. The TTC has announced 5 new express route buses expected to start running in March. The 188 Kipling South Rocket will travel from Kipling Station directly to Humber Lakeshore campus during the day from Monday to Friday. The TTC expects the 5 new buses will attract 400,000 new customers in 2016. The 4 other express buses include the Don Mills Rocket, Finch Rocket, Victoria Park Express, and Wilson Rocket. Toronto community housing could see some big changes. A group tasked by Mayor John Tory presented a report with 29 ways to find more efficient methods to meet tenant needs. At the top of that list is to create a new nonprofit housing corporation to handle the current housing stock. The report will be presented at the Executive Committee meeting this Thursday. Toronto Mayor John Tory is exploring the possibilities of hosting the 2025 World Fair. Tory and other city councillors met with an official from the Bureau of International Expositions on Monday to discuss the possibility of making a bid. The 6-month event happens in different host countries every 5 years. The World Fair has been held in Canada twice before, in Montreal in 1967 and Vancouver in 1986. One of Canada's most prestigious all-girls school is embracing its transgender graduates. Andrew Sprung and Reed Wanless graduated from Branksome Hall back in 2004 and have since transitioned. The 2 men are featured on the cover of Branksome's alumni magazine and have since been invited to help create awareness to youth about transgender lives. Transgender athletes no longer require surgery to compete in Olympic competition. Skedline reporter Ryan Swain has been following the story. Visit skedline.com for the full report. For other sports headlines, we head over to Luke Alexander.
Thanks, Sadie. Tennis titan Serena Williams smashed her way into the semifinals of the Australian Open Tuesday. She was expected to meet fierce resistance from rival Maria Sharapova, but won 6-4 and 6-1. Meanwhile, men's singles star Novak Djokovic swept away Kei Nishikori 6-3, 6-2, and 6-4. He's going to rise into a tough semifinal against 17-time winner Roger Federer. Toronto Raptors are facing off against the Washington Wizards tonight at 7:30. They will be crippled by an injured Bradley Beal. Beal broke his nose in the second quarter of Monday's game against the Celtics. The Raptors are riding an 8-game winning streak. The Toronto Maple Leafs will be tested by the Florida Panthers tonight at 7:30. The Panthers have taken 9 of their last 10 games at home, while the Leafs have had a rough season so far. Toronto FC is headed to California for its preseason training camp, where it'll face off against friendly teams there. But one big name that won't be there is Luke Moore. He'll be in training in England with one of his former clubs. TFC may be looking to sell off Moore before a closing transfer window. Moore made $230,000 last season, but scored only 1 goal. And Blue Jays' Josh Donaldson has put down his baseball bat and picked up a Viking axe. The third baseman revealed photos of his cameo on the television show Vikings on Twitter. Donaldson, who's already known for his unique hairstyle, showed off his braided mohawk and his pride of being on set. Now we go to Emily with entertainment.
Thanks, Luke. I'm Emily Bongelli, and here's what's going on in the entertainment world today. Woody Allen is taking his chances with the small screen. The movie director and writer is teaming up with Amazon to create a new streaming television series that will run 6 half-hour episodes. Singer and former Disney star Miley Cyrus announced on her Instagram account Monday in a very explicit written post that she'll be starring in the series. Shooting for the show begins in March and is due for release later this year, according to Deadline and the New York Times. Allen was the subject of controversy last year when his adoptive daughter, Dylan Farrow, accused the 78-year-old director of molesting her as a child. A mural by British graffiti artist Banksy appeared on a wall near the French embassy in London. The mural highlights the alleged use of tear gas on migrants from the refugee camp in Calais. The image mimics the logo of popular musical Les Miserables. But in Banksy's depiction, clouds of gas engulf the character Cosette. A barcode beside the image links to a YouTube video claiming to show police raids on the camp earlier this month. Last month, Banksy, who has never shown his identity, painted a mural of late Apple founder Steve Jobs as a refugee, representing Jobs' heritage as the son of a migrant from Syria to the United States. Designers are showcasing their spring-summer haute couture collections throughout the week in Paris. Paris Fashion Week attracts some of the biggest names in the industry like Versace, Prada, Dior, and Chanel. Versace kicked off the show on Sunday to showcase their sport chic-inspired luxury collection. Donatella Versace dubbed the show Athletic Couture and opened the show in an all-white ensemble. Colors then turned to electric blue, orange, and black. Versace was quoted saying that this is a collection for all women who walk their own paths. On Monday, Dior presented its first haute couture show since designer Raf Simons left in October. Inspired by the founding designer Christian Dior, the collection was full of symbols and lucky charms. The brand referred to Dior as a superstitious man with absolute faith in his lucky star, thus inspiring the theme. Last night was arguably one of the most star-studded shows of Paris Fashion Week. Imagined by a Chanel executive designer, Karl Lagerfeld, more than 60 models walked an unconventional timber runway surrounded by a perfectly manicured lawn. The models then met in a modern wooden dollhouse. Many of the models' outfits included a loosely tied belt bag made specifically to hold an iPhone. Chanel's most notable models included Gigi and Bella Hadid, as well as his personal favorite, Kendall Jenner. Every season, Lagerfeld chooses a model he calls the bride to close the show with him. In previous years, model and actress Cara Delevingne has been the bride. Jenner has been a solo bride and has also paired up with Delevingne to share the responsibility. This year, Lagerfeld chose Argentinian model Mica Argañarez, accompanied by her groom, French model Baptiste Giobiconi. At the end of the show, Lagerfeld announced that the entire wooden dollhouse will be recycled. That wraps up entertainment news for today. Now back to Sadie in the newsroom.
Thanks, Emily. If you're heading out tonight, don't forget your umbrella. Tina Negavonovich has your 5-day forecast.
Thanks, Sadie. Now for your 5-day forecast. Today, we'll be seeing some partly cloudy skies with showers throughout the day, with a high of 6 and a low of -3. Tomorrow, we'll see some partly cloudy skies with the temperatures dipping to 0 with a low of -4. Later this week, we'll be seeing snow and rain showers, and on Thursday, the temperature will be 1 with a low of -4. Starting the weekend off a bit chilly with -2 and a low of -4 on Friday. and rising up to a high of 4 and a low of 2 on Saturday. That's it for weather. I'm Tina Njogovanovich. Now back to Sadie in the studio.
Thanks, Tina. Those are your news headlines for today. I'm Sadie Perfetto. Thanks for watching.